Okay, so not specifically green slimes, but slimes and oozes and puddings in general is the topic of conversation for today. Most slimes and oozes want to just consume. They are unintelligent, blind creatures that absorb miscellaneous items in their surroundings. This includes weapons, gold, or even player characters. I find oozes interesting because they act on instinct to devour everything they come in contact with, but they require little food. Many oozes live in dungeons, caves, and the Underdark and don't seem to require a lot of sustenance, so they're able to stay there and wait for prey to come by. They can't see, but most oozes and slimes have blind sight to be able to navigate around. Oozes are drawn to movement and warmth, with organic material nourishing them. Oozes kill their prey slowly. If it wasn't for suffocation, oozes would happily devour their victims alive, but more often than not, a creature engulfed by them loses their breath within the ooze. Gray oozes are immune to magic, fire, and cold. They attack by engulfing and dissolving their prey, most like other oozes. Gray oozes are unique in that they can't climb walls or hang from ceilings, so you'll find them mostly on the ground in swamps, caverns, and dungeons. Specifically, green slime in D&D 5th edition isn't a monster like it has been in past editions, but more of a dungeon hazard or trap. You can place green slime in a dungeon for your player characters to encounter. It will eat at their non-magical weapons and armor. A sticky substance, it clings to walls, floors, and ceilings, waiting for movement when it will attack. Instead of hit points, you can destroy a green slime with sunlight, cold, fire, or radiant damage. Let's talk about everybody's favorite ooze, the gelatinous cube. This specific ooze is transparent and oftentimes waits for creatures to simply walk into it, not realizing the cube was in front of them the whole time. They slide through dungeon corridors, absorbing everything in their path. Organic material is quickly dissolved within the gelatinous cube, where metal and stone material will spend time floating inside until it is dispelled, never fully dissolving. On average, a gelatinous cube measures 10 feet on a side and can weigh as much as 15,000 pounds. Like most oozes, they reproduce through asexual budding. A smaller cube gets excreted, and when left to its own devices, will eat and grow into another full-size cube. If multiple cubes are around, those smaller ones can be absorbed accidentally and destroyed before they can grow. Which makes me wonder what would happen if two full-size cubes ran into each other. Could one absorb the other and thus a 20-foot cube be born? Could be a fun encounter to have multiple cubes form into one large one. Black oozes are more free-flowing than gelatinous cubes. In fact, most other oozes don't have such a rigid structure like the cubes do. Black oozes live in underground areas and appear as dark blobs measuring 15 feet across and approximately 2 feet thick. Black oozes often hide in shadowy areas waiting for prey, which they can't see and they're not smart, so they instinctively navigate to darker places. Black puddings eat bone, metal, and wood, leaving only stone behind. Oftentimes you'll find them in dungeons because they cannot eat through the stone walls and floors. When slashed at, and if the weapon survives the acidic body of the black pudding, a pudding can split into two smaller ones, and those smaller black puddings can split into even smaller ones, and so on until they are too small to effectively do damage. Black puddings desire warmth and sense prey through movement. Designed to hunt living prey, they most desire to consume something alive. But when not available, they will devour mushrooms, slime, and metallic objects. We can't talk about oozes without talking about Juiblix, the demon prince of oozes and shapeless things. A large 9-foot-high green ooze covered in eyeballs, Juiblix is also known as the Faceless Lord. He's arguably the least complex of all the demon lords of the Abyss, as he wanders about and destroys what he touches. Juiblix is mighty though, and the other demon lords have learned that an assault on Juiblix is futile. Instead, it's easier just to stay out of his way while he devours and destroys things around him. Juiblix does not plot or scheme, so is a little threat to the other demon lords except for his unwanted destruction of their realms. Most weapons cannot harm Juiblix, and blunt weapons are 100% useless. His powerful acidic body consumes and ruins nearly everything that touches him. According to the Fiendish Codex 1, Juiblix can spew green slime at foes and summon both oozes and demons to aid him in battle. When other oozes are within close proximity of Juiblix, they become oddly intelligent, coordinating attacks and become more mindful of their surroundings. Then finally, there is a bit of obscure lore involving slimes that I came across. There is a god in the Drow pantheon named Ganador, known as That Which Lurks and the Mad God of Oozes. He broke away from the Drow pantheon, and his divine portfolio includes slimes, oozes, outcasts, and rebels. Somehow Lolth arranged for Ganador's followers to forget him. In order to preserve himself, he slunk away into the darkest corner of the cosmos. There, his power grew, and he came to rule over the lowest forms of sentience, the oozes, slimes, and abominations. His domain is known as Dismal Caverns, and he is a chaotic evil deity. He is an ancient deity said to have been born from the primordial ooze. He demands sacrifices from a struggleless prey, creatures either charmed or tricked into sacrificial pits.